social distancing, and it's like fun to do this. But you know what, the best part of actually doing all of this is, the bottom line is that when you have technical problems, it tells you that this is the world we live in. So
Right.
we are now live on my Facebook, your Facebook, and welcome Terry Treppick, Susie Siegel, Event Bliss. But let's see, Event Bliss, Invite Inks, Logo Logic, Susie Siegel, party planning extraordinaire, Susie Siegel, party planner. We're going to talk about it all. But coming to you from Franklin, Michigan. So let's pray that the signal stays intact, because Franklin is, as we all know, the town, like I like to say, the town that nobody forgot, but it is the most, for all of us who live around here, it's the most beautiful, quaint little, beautiful, just like I want to live there. My husband grew up there, has a beautiful little cider mill, beautiful little shops. And how many years have you guys been in your store?
7 years.
7 years.
Started
okay.
in 2013.
So your kitty corner for, I love when people go, where is the store? And like, how is it that you've never been in the store? Because a lot of people do see you out at vendor shows. So we'll talk about that too. But for those of you who have been remiss and not been to Event Bliss, they are kitty corner from the cider mill, who we pray will open this fall. And hopefully I'll talk to them soon. But Susie, tell us a little bit about how the two of you got together and to open Event Bliss.
Well, I've been event planning for like 18 years. And I think I saw Terri at a trade show and liked some of the things she had. And then called her and said, hey, I have a few clients that I'd like to bring by and work with you. It's nice to have a constant person that you work with where there's familiarity and you feel comfortable and kind of, get your vibe. And so we worked together for a couple of years while she was working out of her house on invitations for clients for bar and bat mitzvahs or weddings or showers. And then when this little space opened up, I used to take Pilates upstairs across the street. I saw it and thought it was just a cool place, and we really were going to create it as an event planning / invitation and gifts for those party spaces. And when we got in here, we saw we had a lot more space than what we had originally thought, and started putting in, notepad, stationery, gifty things. And then it kind of like grew from there.
So Terri, describe some of the, your in the space. What are the gifts and things that you do have now?
So now we have bath and body, we have handbags, we have great activewear. Actually, we started with activewear and we've slowly but surely added more just casual, fun, clothing for whatever season it is. We have travel bags, home decor, baby, graduation. Basically, if you need a gift, we can pretty much provide it. Or for yourself too.
Our main thing was not to really, Right. Our main
I was going to say that I think that's really true, because I go in for a gift and come out with a gift for myself all too often.
Our main focus was to make it more of an event party planning type place, which it is, but we found that people wanted so much more. And when we started adding the gifts, which were great, and the accessories, people really started asking for more. And I have a background I was a clothing rep for 28 years. And we started testing little lines and started out with one little 4-way of rack. And now I would say probably 80% of our business is clothing, which we never intended.
Because we're not technically a clothing store.
And I swore it off. I said, no, we are not going to do clothing.
Right.
I grew up in clothing. My my whole life was clothing, and I really wanted to just get away from it. But honestly, that's our love and passion. And we've really kind of targeted a market that's, there's a lot of stores out there. There's a lot of retailer. There's a lot of on-site websites and, online shopping, but we really have a little niche market, and we know our customers. And actually when we buy, I think we really buy with
the clientele
in mind, even for you, like when we see something, oh, Sari would love this, or so-and-so would love it. And really
don't do that too often, but I'm just kidding.
But it's fun. And I think if it comes out of your passion of what you love and what you start with, it's not like a job. And I always say that too, that I never wanted to feel like I was in a job. I wanted to do something I loved. And so did Terri. Right. And I think we've seen too with this whole pandemic craziness that people will buy clothing, jewelry, accessories more so than they're going to buy home stuff, although they've been stuck at home.
Right, exactly.
Right. And when we switched our business, 3 years ago? Yeah. 3 years ago to carry more clothing, 3.5 almost, we saw that our business really grew and our following grew because we're not an expensive, overpriced, untouchable store. You can come in and say, I want a $15 gift. I'm going for lunch and I want a little girlfriend gift. Right. Or I need a $20 housewarming, and we have that, and we'll make it look cute too. So, I think that's been a good thing for us.
I want to talk a little bit, and one of the reasons I've been doing this Facebook Live and to talk to small business owners, and I think it's fabulous to talk to women who are in their businesses. We really had to shift quickly in March. And businesses in particular who were used to doing a little social media just to say, hey, we got a new shipment in, really all of a sudden that became how they were marketing, how they were selling. Terri, start with how you both got together in March and said, oh no, what are we, how are we going to keep the doors open? Or were you going to keep the doors open?
So fortunately, we came up with the idea of selling masks, maybe not in March, but around April. And that really kept us in the forefront of everybody's eyes. We did a lot of Instagram and Facebooking. But what was helpful was that when they would buy a mask, obviously at the beginning it was curbside or we would deliver, but we were also doing Facebook. So they'd say, when you bring your mask, can you bring that sweater that was on Instagram? And they would try it on. They liked it, great. If they didn't, obviously we'd pick it up or they would drop it off. So that, now when they pick up their masks, if they're just buying masks, they can come into the store now and they're like, this is where you are.
Right.
And they never knew where, now they know where we are. And they're like, I never knew you existed. And now they do.
I think when I called Terri and said, I think we should sell masks, I think she kind of laughed at me first. But I said, I really think this is going to be a long time haul. And I don't want to wear an KN95 mask. I can't breathe.
Right.
It's not pretty. If we are going to be wearing them a long time, you take it off, your makeup's on. These can be washed. And actually, they're more economical because buying the KN95 or the N95s, they're expensive and they were hard to come by. And I think when I first said to her, we're going to order masks, she kind of laughed at me and we kind of felt almost uncomfortable doing it because were we preying on people wearing masks, but actually we started a niche. And I think now there's a lot of other independent stores that have caught on the bandwagon and they're carrying masks too. But we kind of created a little niche market for it. And then went from there, even logoing, putting logos on them or little special messages or colleges or anything like that. And it really,
I think that's really true. I remember early on, you really were one of the first in our area. Right. And I remember thinking everybody is going to be walking around in the fall around their campus. I think one of the first masks you did were university. I think that was, one of the, and I thought, oh my God, who doesn't want to wear their colors, you
Mhm.
know, and when these kids do go back in the fall, and I thought, oh, this is brilliant. And, you know, I didn't personally think, um, you know, you're playing on anything. We were all going to have to wear them,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and
But
in
you know what?
fact, I think it's sitting right here, but I thought, you know, I'm going to have to go back to a studio. And I remember I called Terry and I said, I'm going to walk in a studio one day and I need a mask. They're not going to
Right.
know who I am.
Right.
And I said, can I get a mask with my logo on it?
Right.
And, you know, I mean, this is, instead of name badges,
It's the new norm. We're going to
you
be
know,
getting masks from everywhere.
Right.
I predict that, like, at your first bar mitzvah that you go to, one of the giveaways will be a mask.
It is.
Yeah.
In September, I'm doing an event, and we're going to have the masks airbrushed with the kids' names on it, and maybe even the adults, because it can be their name tag.
Right.
And listen, we're going to have to wear them
yes.
to be safe, you know, for everybody else. And why not have it look cute? I mean, some of those masks are just, you know, they jut out to here.
Yeah,
You know, they're
right.
uncomfortable. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not comfortable. They're not meant originally to be comfortable, but we think we've got a really good, like, a handle on it. Like I said, we're doing a few events in September, a wedding and a mitzvah, and we are going to have pretty masks, you know, because they all said they don't want to be wearing masks on the dance floor.
Right.
Well, guess what? If they look good and they're fun and they're cute and they can be a little creative, we're going to have an airbrusher there, airbrushing whatever the kids want and the adults.
Yeah.
So it will make it fun.
Let's talk about that for a second. Because Terry, in particular, my sister, right away, my niece, Terry was doing the invitations for her wedding in May, my niece's wedding in May. And we had saved the dates. I had beautiful, really comfortable robes. Susie, that you helped, you know, you guys helped get for Hannah and Drew with their names on them. I finally got to give them last week to them. You know, sure enough, we did the invitation. We did the save the date. Then we did the invitation. And then we did the postponement.
Uh-huh.
Then we're about to do the postponement again.
Right.
Yeah. And so, I mean, really, Terry, I think in March, your whole business became, oops, we have to change our dates.
Right.
Poor Susie, like
Yeah.
so many, your whole, I mean, I only imagine your business just kind of completely, I mean, I think people were more or less not even, oops, we have to postpone. It was just, we don't know what to do.
Right. At first, they were holding their ground and keeping the dates. I had an April wedding. I had a March party, an April wedding, a May party, a June shower, a July wedding. You know, and they all said, you know, let's wait and see. And I think when they went down to, you know, 100 people, they were like, oh, what am I going to do? Right. And then it was 10 people gathering. So really, you know, if your dreams were to have a 200 or 300, 400 person wedding, you really couldn't do what you wanted to do. And even giving them options to say, hey, get married and then have the party later. Some were for it. And some it kind of, you know, it's a little girl's dream to have her big
My
wedding.
niece was, we kept saying, well, why didn't you just get married? And she was like,
no.
Nope.
So we really did. We've kind of watched it. And like I said, we have 2 events in September. And right now they're going forward with it. If something changes, and we're going to send the invitations out. Normally we give like 8 to 10 weeks. People want to send out really early, so you have a long time.
So is that, so
we're going to do it a little closer. We're going to give them 6 or 7 weeks because.
Oh, so you're moving the, not spreading it out, you're moving it closer?
Closer.
Okay.
Because that way, if something changes, we have, you know, a little bit more leeway.
Okay.
And let's face it, most of the people know that there's a wedding and there's something coming up, and they're going to do their best to get there. You know, obviously some people who might not want to travel or might not want to be in big crowds. You know, maybe if things open up and the virus goes down to no cases or 2 cases, people will feel better about coming. So they, rather than going back and forth and saying, I'm coming, I'm not coming, I'm coming, you know, once you give a number to that venue, to go back and forth is really hard too. It's, you know, tables, it's table settings, it's everything. And that's something we have to discuss too, is how are we going to do the tables and how spread apart can somebody be, can 10 people be at a 72-inch round table? I mean, you're going to be this close at least, or sometimes closer. So we'll have to figure that out. And maybe couples can be, you know, maybe it'll be longer tables with more space. It's really, it's something, it's an uncharted waters, which are difficult. And we just want to make it easy, but sometimes it's not. I mean, it's going to be, you know, a challenge for everybody, for even the catering halls that, you know, you can't do buffets anymore.
So I think that's been, you know, a really big discussion about, I mean, just recently even hearing about the casinos opening and things like that, and hotels. I mean, it is such a trickle down effect to everything. But I mean, even for Terri, I'm sure you find this and you're finding this within your own store, nothing shows up when it's supposed to show up. So, you know, you know, God love FedEx and UPS and Amazon. And, you know, when you're running a small business, everybody has to be a little patient. But, you know, when you tell someone it's going to be there, it may not.
A day or so.
Yeah. And
we had masks that went to Honolulu, Hawaii, and then came here, and it took them 17 days.
Oh my
From New York.
From well, I think that one was from LA. It was from LA, but 17 days. And it was priority, 2-day priority mail. So it really, you're
Did
right.
they have a good time? So apparently they had a good time in Hawaii. They lost it. But I mean, I mean, I would imagine that people are understanding, but yet in the party world, it's such, I mean, I know in my own family, it's just high emotion. It's a
lot of emotions.
It's a lot of emotions. And, you know, Terri, we talked about this the other day, just sort of offline. It's scary. I mean, it's in this party planning world, we don't know where these businesses, you know.
It is extremely scary. Just like you said, we have no idea if this is going to come back to the way it was, if anybody really wants it to come back to the way it was. I'm hoping that we can make a goal of March 2020 for it to be sort of back to normal. But you sort of go day by day.
And kind of think about this too, like even in terms of like the hora, okay? Like, you can do a hora, but you can't do it 6 feet apart.
Right, exactly.
And you're going to be holding hands with somebody who you know or don't know. So what do?
You hand out gloves.
You hand out gloves. And
I know. And you know, I go through this in my own mind. You know, I'd like to say I was never a germaphobe. Right. I believe in healthy living and vaccinations, and just like you guys do. I've known you a long time, and I know, but you know, we just all have all these things to think about now, and a different way of doing business. And so, you know, I all my conversations right now are all about the fall, being prepared, because the health professionals tell us to be prepared, you know. And so I think about you guys in your business. One of the reasons, you know, I want to do these small business conversations is because I don't want anyone to sort of have that March thing happen again, where people aren't prepared. You know, what are we doing to be prepared again? What, you know, I say, Susie, Terri, you know, what are you going to do in the virtual party world?
Right.
Well, listen, I mean, certain people have had Zoom parties and Zoom birthdays, and that's great. But somebody who's having a wedding or prepared for a bar or bat mitzvah for their child wants that party, wants that celebration. And you know what? In today's time, we need to have the celebration.
Yeah.
We need to laugh and smile and enjoy again. And not that we want to put everybody packed into a room and expose them to the pandemic virus craziness that we've had the past 3 months. But I think we also have to be realistic and say, you know what? Let's see what happens. Let's be realistic. I'm meeting with a client tomorrow that their party is in September. We have a backup date, which is in March, but we're going to roll with it. And if we have to make a change, we make a change. And, the only thing that changes too is it might cost them a little bit to do, another invitation or change something or send out a save the date, which is a minimal expense. It's not, thousands and thousands of dollars to do that. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
It's a minimal expense. Okay,
Right.
it's a few $100s more, and we're working with them, and we're working with the clients to say, hey, we want you to be comfortable. I had a wedding plan for April. Everything was done. They changed the date to 2021, and she's not sending out another invitation. She will send out a card, but here I had to reschedule everything and replan. I'm not recharging her for that, but you have to think in terms of, what, this is something that's why you hire us, because we're going to make you feel comfortable and safe. And
Well,
we're going to
I want to put the plug out there, which you're doing, but I want to put the plug out there, and that is why people who are in the midst of doing some kind of life cycle event really need to be working at this time so much with a professional.
Yeah.
Don't ask your next door neighbor, your best friend. They're lovely. Have them come. But really, the truth of the matter is you've got vendors, you've got linens, or I don't care how simplistic, if it's a backyard event.
Right.
Yeah.
Because believe me, I've had those conversations too with, my own niece. We'll put a tent in the backyard. You can just get married with 100 people outside. That's what the state of,
Right.
but the truth of the matter, who's calling the tent to hire or not have them come?
Right.
So, it's really important to have a professional in your corner.
Well,
right
also
now.
too, is we might have ideas and things that will work.
Right.
I can give you a great example too. My own daughter's wedding, which you attended, was in September. Okay. It was a perfect, beautiful day. Last minute, before we're ready to walk down the aisle, having the skies open up and starts raining. And we didn't have a backup plan because it was the most gorgeous day. But yet we came up with something, and everybody said, I was really calm about it. I think you need sometime an unbiased, uninvolved person to give you the options and say, hey, this is how it is. We even had a client yesterday that came in and said, hey, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but we have a funeral and we're all fighting about how to do it. We need an outside person. Would you guys be, not interested, but would you be willing to do it?
Right.
And we're like, yeah, sure. It's not my number one choice, but you know what? We understand because there's so many little.
But the other thing that might.
Well, but funerals are so different now too.
Correct.
Much
and
different.
even the grieving period. I mean, so maybe you're going to make an appointment to go sit with somebody to grieve, but maybe that is the way that you get one-on-one time with somebody. Like, maybe sign up. Hey, I'm going to come from 1 to 1:15,
Right.
and I see everybody. Almost like when you go to a funeral and you go through the back to give your condolences. Maybe not doing it that way anymore. Maybe saving that time and saying, you know what, we're going to come.
You can sign up how I used to sign up for conferences.
Right.
And you get a time.
Right. Have a time.
Right.
I mean, when she asked us yesterday, it was kind of funny. I was like, no, I never thought of that. But also, too, the planning has changed so much from, people now proposals. Because it's only a few people, we can plan a really cool proposal.
Yeah,
And make
absolutely.
that something special.
Right.
Or maybe even plan a delayment type, little party where it's just your family saying, hey, this is the day you were supposed to get married. We're acknowledging that, but let's, we're going to, in the future, we're going to have a great party, or we're going to have the ceremony and in the future, a great party.
I love that.
Don't know what the right thing to do either is, because they don't want to offend anybody by saying, you know what,
we don't have enough room for you now.
We don't have room for you, or you know what, we're going to go on with our plans, virus or no virus. You can't. You have to live accordingly now, and it does change from day to day. Of what rules are. What's open, what's not. I mean, are you going to go have a wedding without your hair and makeup done? I don't think so. And your photographer, I mean, he's going to be.
Not me. I want to be sufficiently airbrushed at all times.
That's right. So I mean, we all feel like, what, we want to do our part, but at the same time, we want to be realistic, and you have to live your lives to an extent too. Also being a major germaphobe, and there's so many different levels of this, of how to dance, how to do. Food stations. There will be no food stations because they're afraid of people. But people prepare our food every day, and we're doing all these carryouts. So, does it? What
it's such a balance, and it's such a balance going forward. Let's talk a little bit more in the time we have left about Event Bliss. A little bit about how you guys are back to doing business. The great news in Michigan is our doors got to swing open a bit in the last few weeks or coming weeks. So you guys are back in the store together.
Yes.
I know, before you were both running around and delivering and taking orders and FaceTime Live. So now, Terri, you're back in the store. Are you taking appointments still? What are you doing?
You know what? Now, whatever makes the client feel good, we'll do. We will definitely keep doing FaceTime appointments. We'll definitely do curbside. We'll definitely deliver if you want that. But we are open. And what's kind of nice about being a small boutique type store is that we don't really have a ton of people in the store at all times. So you can obviously call us and make sure that there's only one person in the store, which is absolutely fine. Or you can take your chance. And usually at the most we have one other person here,
or we'll ask everybody, are you comfortable with them coming in?
Right.
And we're kind of keeping it, call us before you come in. We have sanitizing stations. Call us before you walk in, just so that everybody's comfortable.
We do ask that you wear a mask when you come in.
Absolutely.
And we do have masks for you if you don't have one.
Mask, gloves, and
right. And sanitizer.
Well, and I think, again, that we just talked about it. I think that this is the norm of retail. And I will say that, again, one of the reasons I get the benefit of being able to talk to you guys is that we're talking about small businesses, and small business means a lot of things to different people. Well, one of the things it means to me in talking to you is really the customer service. I'll do the shout out. I am a very good client and cheerleader and fan of Event Bliss. But, I will say this, one of the reasons I love shopping so much locally and especially at Event Bliss is I might see something on Instagram or Facebook and say, when did that come in? Gotta have that. And do you have my size? And hope that my husband is not home if it gets dropped off to me or safe.
Right.
Susie got caught the other day. I said, you cannot deliver when my husband answers the door. You have to drop and run.
I tried. I tried.
He was happy to talk to you, but Terri knows to drop and run and but
I tried. I think he caught me backing out the driveway. But we found too that we have people like you that looked on Facebook and really were looking at the masks and then said, wow, they really have a lot of things. We thought they were only event planning. And from that, we have gotten, I would say, 20 or 30 customers new that
yes.
never knew about us and actually have consistently now called or texted us. And we said, feel free to call us, text us. We'll send you pictures.
Right.
We'll put together a bag. You know, that's really difficult for stores too, because when the merchandise comes back in, we sanitize it, we steam it, we let it sit there. So it takes it off the floor. But at the same time, we're building a really nice rapport with these customers and we know what they like. And now we can text them or call them and say, hey, we've got some things we think you like too. But it is a slippery slope and it is difficult. But we're
well,
doing
I think what's great is that you do know your customers, even when you get to know a new customer. I know I can call and say, I want to spend $60. You know, I need a housewarming gift or I need a birthday gift, and I'll get, you know, 5 pictures. I'll be like, great, you know.
Yeah.
And it is wonderful for a busy working person. I say it all the time at Mother's Day that a husband can call and text you and say, you know, call these two because your wife has shopped there, or they're just going to show you something. But what's really nice really about Event Bliss that I always want people to realize is that, do you want a shirt? Do you want a piece of jewelry? Do you want the beautiful salad spoons that you would never buy yourself? I mean, I have bought so many housewarming gifts and taken them to my sister and to my mother. And then I'm like,
what about me?
You know, I mean, I think to myself, like, I don't buy those things for myself and they're gorgeous. And so, and the price points are wonderful. And so, you know, I encourage everyone to really look at your Instagram and your Facebook for, you know, buy yourself a gift.
I also think that now we're going to be going to more houses.
Yeah,
I think we're going to be going to more houses.
Yeah, Terri, I think,
you know, backyard
barbecue, backyard restaurants, or dining. And when somebody comes to your house, they're going to feel funny. Are they going to bring food? Maybe not, but they might want to bring something along with the bottle of wine. And it doesn't have to be a $100 gift. It can be $10, $20, $30.
Let's do, oh my God, I'm just thinking, let's do a backyard party and show off some like fun gifts that you can bring. Let's do that. Like in the next week or so. Okay, everyone, you heard it here. Now we have to do it. But I think that's really true, because you guys have some great wine bags and little bottle stoppers. And, you know, I never like to go anywhere, you know, really empty handed. And you're right. It's going to be weird to bring food a little bit. And, you know, I've been spending time, I think a lot of people have, sort of sprucing up their backyards, because that's where we're going to be this summer. I think some pillows I ordered just showed up. And, you know, and I think that the truth is that you should be buying little special things for yourself. The bottom line is that you don't have to spend a lot of money to do that at your store. And that's really what's nice. I always say it's a balance, because right now people aren't necessarily working, or they're getting back to work. So, you know, what's great about your store is you can always go in and sort of buy yourself something, or for somebody, not spend necessarily a lot of money, but also feel great about it. Being in a, you know, Franklin, Michigan, which is such an amazing little community, but also supporting a local business. So, did I forget anything? I always like to ask that, because not perfect, but I want to make sure, you know, that we talk about everything you want to talk about.
No, we just want people to know that we're here. We're open most days 11 to 4 or later for private appointments, if that's what you prefer.
And what's your and give everybody your phone number, your Instagram. I mean,
the phone number is 248-862-6741. Our Instagram is event.bliss. Facebook is Event Bliss Franklin MI.
Yeah,
perfect.
And we're basically located kitty corner, like you said, to the cider mill.
Yeah.
And people, you know, people are starting to hear about us, but we welcome anybody to call, and we'll send pictures.
Right.
We'll do whatever
Whatever they're comfortable with.
you know, and you know, make it easy for them, because it's not easy going to a mall right now. I will tell you that.
No.
Half of them aren't even like really open, and half the stores aren't open. And then you have to go through the whole mall and park. Here you can park. We've got
Right
plenty of parking. Like you said, we'll do curbside, and we'll make it seamless.
comfortable,
Wrap the gift too, with
Right.
cards and everything. So
That is one of the perks of Event Bliss, by the way, for those who are inept at wrapping. Great bags, great wrapping. Guys, thank you so much,
Thank you.
because I really appreciate
Thanks
you
for
taking
having me.
time out of your day. I adore you both and love that, you know, during this whole crazy time, I really believe that these local businesses have never worked harder in your whole life as hard as you worked before. You're working that much harder
I
now.
want to say one other thing too, is that I think you've done, which kudos to you, is a lot of the businesses that wouldn't speak to each other before are really talking to each other,
Right.
which is really kind of
that's-
nice. I mean, we've really connected with some of the other small businesses as well, and working together. And you know, we don't have everything that they carry, and they don't have everything we carry, and we're working together and supporting each other, because we need other businesses to stay.
Well, I do. I really, you know, I say it all the time. I think, you know, we live in this great community philanthropically. I think that we have a great community. This sort of, for me, is stepping way out of my box. I am really a believer in putting my clients out there, but I felt like this month and a half, like it was an opportunity to talk to my clients in a very different way. But also I'm bringing on people who aren't my clients, of course, because it's so impressive what you all sort of really had to do. I mean, I tried to help in any way I could during this time, but also, you know, I also watched our community in their businesses, and it's a scary time. It's a reinventing ourselves time for all of us. And there are businesses who, you know, could fall apart or not. And I don't think it benefits anyone not to sort of work together. And I know you guys jumped on the phone and you watched one another and said, like, how do we all work together? You know, we don't carry what you carry. And if we don't have it, go down the street. You've got stores all around you. And in Franklin,
we had a couple go out in Franklin.
Yeah.
We've had two, three go out, which you know what? People have said, "Oh, well, you'll do better because they're no. We want other small businesses.
Yeah,
small businesses thrive because of other small businesses. So, as much as we support the large ones too, we need to support our small businesses, and hopefully everybody supports everybody, and at least it's somebody to talk to and like have a hand to hold while you're going through the same hard times as they are. Sometimes, you know, it helps.
Yeah.
It helps.
it's very true. Very true. Well, have an amazing day. You guys will, I'm sure, see me soon, or I'm sure I'll get
a text.
I'm sure I'll want something. Stop posting. I kid you all the time. I'm like, oh, please don't post that. But it's really funny. I am actually in a top and a skirt today. And so I do get dressed every day. And so, you know, nobody sees me lately, but at least I wear the clothes in my house. So, you know.
We see you. We see you.
All right, guys, have an amazing day.
Thank you.
Love you both.
Bye-bye.